I unveil this book to the glory of God and the benefit of mankind. I will purchase some of these books after 1,000 years of the author. Thank you very much.
We need a book that is very, very practical in nature, that is not just looking at theory of what we do, because at the end of the day, there are so many legislations like the Electoral Act, Nigeria Broadcasting Code, and even the Nigeria Media Code of Election Coverage that says journalists should not do this or should do this during elections. But the how is often missing. So it's like you go to a doctor, you complain of headache, and the doctor, decides to prescribe some drugs for you and gives you some prescription and says this. That prescription would always contain some formulas. You go to the pharmacist, then the pharmacist will say, this is how you should use this. Use this one in the morning, use this one at this time. So I'm really looking at the how side of it, of when you say balanced reporting, what does it mean? Then how can I be balanced? When you say I shouldn't be biased as a reporter, even when I'm working for a proprietor that has political interest, how is it possible for me to eliminate my biases, and how can I do it? Or if you say I should be gender sensitive, how do I become gender sensitive? How do I have that consciousness? So I begin to look at all this how, and then begin to give detailed guidelines, deriving from my experience as a journalism trainer of several years, not just in Nigeria, but also in the Gambia and Liberia. And I've also covered elections myself. Then my organization, the International Press Center, we monitor media coverage of elections, where we look at the strengths and the weaknesses of our coverage. So I just wrote this book to help to fill some of those gaps that we have identified, believing that it will be very useful, not just for political reporters, but also for each and every journalist. That is why one of the chapters in the book really talks about our democratic accountability responsibilities, how we need to go about holding politicians accountable. People don't know, for example, that to be a good election reporter, you must be a good budget reporter. You must be able to follow the budget, to look for elements in the budget that capture promises or that do not capture them, and to ask questions about them. People also do not know that a good election reporter must be a good researcher. You need to be able to do research of the issues you are covering. So it's more of a kind of industry-derived book that details in practical terms what our responsibilities should be. And I also feel that we do not have to wait till 2023 before we begin to arm the next generation of journalists who will cover the elections. With these appointments now, many of our experienced political reporters and editors are going into government to work with various politicians. So you always have that vacuum. A new generation will step up. We need to arm that generation. So the book is for practicing journalists. It's also for future journalists, students of mass communication, students of journalism, as well as academic scholars. This is a book that you can say a lecturer is teaching in the classroom and is teaching balanced reporting or is teaching gender-sensitive reporting, and say, okay, go and read this chapter in Lanre Arogundade's book. That is the kind of purpose that I want this book to serve.